Hello and welcome to Two Queens, Two Crowns. I'm your host, KJ Miller, entrepreneur, lecturer, and content creator. And today is not only a Queen Things episode, but it's also my very first solo episode. That's right. Adrian got fed up with my antics and decided to cut and run. JK. Adrienne and her lovely self. She is an incredibly busy Hollywood woman, okay? She is in Hollywood doing things, running things, building writers' rooms, this, that, and the third. So she and I, when she agreed to come on and co-host this show with me, we agreed she would always be present for the duo episodes. So the episodes you know and love, where we're talking about two women who have historically been pitted against one another. But for the Queen Things episodes, she would, jump in and jump out as she's able. The busy woman that she is. So don't fear, don't fret. Nothing's up, nothing's wrong. We planned it this way. It does, however, mean that we're all going to learn together if I'm able to hold your attention for 20 to 50 minutes by myself. Nobody knows the answer to this, folks. We're going to find out at the end of this, but I hope you will stick around because we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. First and foremost, as always, we will be diving into your comments and feedback on our prior episode about Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. And let me tell you, the folks have opinions, okay? So there's a lot to dive into. I'm excited. There's also a lot I do want to respond to because some of what was brought up in the social media comments is stuff that we didn't really get to dive into during the episode. So I'm looking forward to that. After that, we are going to dive into some updates. As I'm sure many of you are aware, Cardi B has a new song out right now called Enough, and I want to give you my opinion on that new song. And also, Nicki Minaj recently started her world tour for Pink Friday 2. So I want to give you a few thoughts on that. And then I'm going to wrap up by telling you guys a little bit about some of the feedback I've gotten on my content creator career. It's interesting and pretty juicy stuff, so stick around for that. And I'm excited to get into all of it after a quick word from our sponsors. LOL, we don't have sponsors. Not yet anyway. I did actually just want to take this moment and pause and relay some of my thoughts around bringing on advertisers as this show continues to grow. Now, some of you who follow me on TikTok may have seen a post where I said, I really don't like podcast ads, and I really wanted to avoid bringing on sponsors and advertisers because I feel like it interrupts the flow. However, I've been thinking about this more, and I did say in that video, I reserve the right to change my mind. I've been thinking about this more, and when I think about the shows that I love that don't do ads and instead base all of their monetization on subscription, two shows that immediately come to mind for that are Maintenance Phase and If Books Could Kill. I find that they tend to rely a lot on their subscription only episodes because those are the only ones where they're making any money, right? And so I get it, but it almost feels like it's created an incentive for them to put just about everything behind a paywall. And so if you're not paying, you get less than half of the content that they're producing. It didn't start that way, but it moved that way with both shows. And again, I understand it because the other episodes aren't monetized, right? And so it kind of creates this reverse incentive to only create content that goes behind a paywall. And I personally, I just don't know that that's what I want. I want to feel like I have a reason to get as much content to as many people as possible. It's part of the reason why right now, in terms of my social media content, I really just focus on TikTok and YouTube because those platforms pay you for views. I don't have to try to extract money from the people watching me because the platforms are paying. Not to say I won't, okay? If you think I'm not going to launch subscriptions and memberships, you're wrong. But but I'm also going to give people bonus content for those subscriptions. And so same here, I still plan on launching bonus content that you can pay a small monthly fee to access. But I personally would love it if the bonus content never got to a point where it was more than 25% of the content I'm putting out there. And the vast majority of content is available to everyone, whether they're paying or not. And advertisers are really what let you do that. So I am thinking that I probably will bring on advertisers at some point. What I would love to do, and I can't promise it'll work this way, but what I would love to do is use my sponsored content to highlight women-owned brands that I love. That's what I would love to do. And there are a lot of women-owned brands that I love. So that's what I'd love to do. It might not work out that way, but that's sort of what I'm thinking about. The good news for all of you is We don't have sponsors yet. I have not started outreach yet. We're probably at least a month or two away from that happening. So enjoy this good, free, ad free content for as long as possible. But I wanted to park that here just so you know that it might be coming. All right, let's get into the show. Okay, so right off the bat, it is time to jump into you guys' comments about Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. We had a lot of spicy takes, okay? A lot of spicy takes, particularly over on YouTube Shorts. Now, I will say this, the post that I put up, particularly one of the posts that I put up from the last episode, my YouTube short got just as many views as the TikTok. And that never happens. I literally broke 10,000 views on YouTube shorts for the first time. Again, has never happened for me. And it was because of my Nicki Minaj and Cardi B post. So obviously these women, they command a lot of eyeballs and people have a lot of thoughts. So we're going to get into the spicier takes, but first, let me start with some of the less spicy takes, some of the more positive takes. I always like to start with the good. And if you're noticing that my voice sounds a little different, I am sick. I have been sick for several days now. Just go with it. It's a vibe. All right. So first comment, this is from the YouTubes, the full length YouTube, which by the way, shout out if you want to have visuals while you listen, head over to YouTube, from a user named FlyAxeSounds. This person says, love that you covered this topic. This is a topic I never knew the whole story about. I only ever heard one side of the story, the Barb's side. You were able to paint the picture of both Nicki and Cardi. And the thing about it is they were both hurt in their own way, projected their pain onto each other, and it blew up into something bigger due to misunderstanding. Thank you, FlyAxeSounds. You officially have my comment of the week because I feel like you get it. I appreciate you for engaging, and I completely agree. I think there was hurt on both sides, and it led to a beef that maybe didn't have to be, and maybe in our lifetime we will see resolved. Who knows? So thank you for that. All right, next up, this user is from TikTok. Her name is 1111 Millionaire. She said, I just listened to the episode. Really nice info. I would just add Lil' Kim was a big influence prior. And yes, you are absolutely right, Millionaire. Kim was a huge influence. I completely agree. I don't know why I didn't bring her up on that episode, but obviously she was a rap star in her own right. Owned the 90s, even pre-Missy Elliott. So you're absolutely right. Thank you for that note. And then finally, a user on TikTok named Courtney S. She wrote, a similar thing happened to Winona Judd, I believe, when Shania Twain emerged. Now, I just wanted to call out this comment because one, I don't know anything about this Winona Judd, Shania Twain beef, and I am going to look into it because it sounds like it could be an interesting episode. And two, I want to call it out for you guys because just know I'm in these comments. So if there are topics you think could be interesting for me to cover, please comment it on social, on TikTok, or on YouTube. I'm in the comments, y'all. I would love to know what episodes you want to see. And we do have some really good ones being cooked up right now, but there might be some duos I just don't know about or haven't heard about. So let me know. And now let's move on to some of our spicier takes, okay? So before I dive into the comments, I actually want to show you guys the post that I posted that got all these thousands and thousands of views on YouTube and on TikTok, just so you guys are keyed in. So let me share the video with you. We get to 2017 and she decides to take a little bit of a break, right? Mind you, she's been releasing music. She's been on feature after feature. She's had at this point in the last 7 years, 3 albums go to #1. She's been nonstop. So she decides to take a break and basically releases no music, no solo music from spring 2017 to spring 2018. She also goes on a social media break. Now, it is in this Nicki Minaj vacuum that Cardi B explodes onto the scene with her hit, Bodak Yellow. If you were in Nicki Minaj's shoes and you had been dominating for 7 years, and then you decided, let me take a break, let me breathe a little bit before I release my new music in 2018. And in that time, essentially a quote unquote challenger appears and starts dominating the charts. How do you think you would feel? So here's some of what people had to say. I'm not going to name them. First comment up. She says, so the success of another female gives you the right to be a hater and be bitter? Now, I will just say a lot of people commented along these lines. This person was definitely not the only one, basically saying, like, look, yeah, okay, she took a break. Nicki Minaj took a break. And that's when Cardi B entered. Maybe you do have feelings around that, but that doesn't mean you get to be a hater. That doesn't mean you get to, go on the attack. That doesn't mean you get to say nasty things, so on and so forth. And the thing is, of course, I agree with that. But I just want to underscore the humanity here. Now, I am going to get a little woo woo on you briefly. I, over the last year, have been learning a lot about the idea of unblocking, right? Unblocking the subconscious beliefs that hold us back and create triggers for us around certain topics. A lot of times, these unconscious or subconscious beliefs are formed around experiences that we've had when we're really, really young, formed around things that we've been told when we're really young, and they create this block within us. And we oftentimes react from that hurt, wounded place. I've been learning a lot about this. Adrian has helped me a lot in this sort of journey to learn about unblocking and expanding. We could talk about it all day. And in fact, Adrian is appearing on an episode of the Expanded podcast. For any of you who are interested in that work and manifestation, she's appearing on that podcast soon. I'll have to get the date. This is her favorite topic, y'all. But back to this. As I've been learning more about this idea of unblocking, I will say, I just don't think I'm the only person who can relate to reacting from a place of hurt that isn't even caused by the person you're reacting to. And I do just think that could be happening with Nicki. And whether it is or isn't, I just very much appreciate the human condition that might lead to that sort of response. And I just want to take pause and recognize that, like I totally get it. No, we can't be out here just hating on people and belittling people left, right, and center. But I get that sometimes these things come from a place of hurt and woundedness. And if you haven't done the work to unblock, to really acknowledge that pain, where it comes from, and to address it and nurture that part of yourself that needs a nurturing, if you haven't done that work, it can cause all sorts of problems and issues for you. And like I said, we could talk about this all day. That's not exactly what this podcast is about. But hit up Adrienne on social media if you want to talk about it more, okay? Because she can talk about it for ages and ages and hours and hours. All right, let's get to our next comment. A real one would have been excited to see some competition. And then also related, another person said, I wish that she had tailored up, i.e. make more music. And of course, she's referring to our queen, Taylor Swift. Now, this is another theme I saw in the comments, like basically the idea that the best artists are inspired by new musicians entering the field because, it unlocks creativity in them. And a lot of these artists use that creativity to go to the next level. Now, this commenter referenced Taylor Swift. I would also, of course, reference our queen Beyonce and how she is always tuning into what other artists are doing and collaborating with them and bringing them in on her projects. Like, that is how she thrives. She, as far as I can tell, does not view any other musician as competition. She very much is like, let me see what's being done over here. Is this an element that I can learn from and I can use to take me and my work even farther? So let me just say, I completely agree with the idea that the best artists, the best musicians, the best scholars, the best authors, whomever, they are inspired by new work, new art, people pushing the conversation forward. They're not threatened by it. And we've talked about this before on this show. So I agree with that sentiment. And, I hope both of these women can get to a place where they believe that too. And maybe they're already there, maybe they're already there. And I think it's a better, more expanded place to live in. And then our final comment that I'm going to address here on this show, this person says, so what does Nicki's personal break have to do with Cardi B? If Viola Davis decides not to act for a year, is Angela Bassett supposed to stop acting too? Make it make sense. Now, I mostly included this comment because I thought it was funny. And I love both of those queens, Viola Davis and Angela Bassett. But I will say this was another flavor of comment that I got a lot, particularly over in YouTube Shorts. Basically, the idea that just because someone takes a break, the world doesn't stop spinning, right? People don't stop making moves. And I will just say what I related to in this sentiment was When I was, building Minted Cosmetics, my brand, I often had this sort of thought when we were in the midst of product development, because I would get so excited about a product, and then I would think like, I'm excited about it now and I really see the void and a desire for this product now, but what if by the time it launches, because oftentimes, product development, from the time you have an idea to the time it launches, it could be a year, it could be 2 years. Will the world still care by the time this thing comes out? I used to have that thought all the time, but I couldn't let it stop me, right? So this, I don't know, for whatever reason, this just sort of reminded me of that. Like, yeah, the world doesn't stop spinning. People don't stop moving. People's tastes can change in the time that you're taking your break or whatever, or you're in development or whatever it might be, but you can't let that stop you. The world's going to do what the world's going to do. And this comment just sort of reminded me of that. So anyway, that's a snippet of the comments that we got on social. Obviously, if you want to join the conversation, please hop over to TikTok. You can find all of the posts on my page at @IM_KJ Miller, or hop over to YouTube, Two Queens, Two Crowns podcast, and you can join the conversation over there. All right, moving on. In today's updates, I wanted to share my thoughts on Cardi B's new song and also a few thoughts on Nicki Minaj's current tour. So let's start with Cardi. This song, she has a new song out called Enough. And I gotta tell you, I'm into it. Let me play a quick little snippet. Now tell me that song was not a vibe. You can't. You cannot tell me that song was not a vibe. Now look, hopefully the powers that be will let me keep that little snippet in there and won't take me off the platform. I'm going to keep it to under 15 seconds. But that song to me is just so much fun. It is so classic Cardi. And we're getting all the things I love about a Cardi song. We're getting play on words. We're getting little jokes in there. Obviously, her confidence level is on 1,000, where it should be, where it always is. And to me, this is just classic Cardi. I'm going to read my favorite little lyric here. I'm going to substitute the B word with the word winch, just in case I want a political career one day. Here we are. Winches is washed, soap on the dishes. I apply pressure like boa constrictors. One winch, two winch, old winch, new winch. None of y'all winches not gonna do ish. Obviously, I'm not a rapper, but I love that little line. I love the song. Like I said, it feels classic. And the thing about Cardi to me is she always delivers on fun. Like when I hear a Cardi song, I know I'm going to be able to bump it. I know it's going to have a great beat. I know we're going to have some good wordplay. And I know it's going to be fun. And that to me, I'm not a rap connoisseur, so I'm not someone who listens to a lot of rap music. So if I'm listening to it, it's because I want to have a good time. I'm out and about. I want to be able to say a few of the lyrics together with my girls, whatever it is. Like Cardi always delivers on that. So shout out to Cardi on this new song because I think it's a banger. And it did debut at #1 on the iTunes charts. I think right now it's at #3. So it's doing pretty well. I will also just say from a marketing standpoint, I've enjoyed seeing her. She's been big on TikTok. Marketing. I mean, I think she's been marketing beyond TikTok, but she popped up with Keith Lee. If you're not familiar with Keith Lee, he is a food influencer, very big on TikTok. I think like 15 million followers. She popped up doing an interview with Speedy. He's also very big on TikTok. So I feel like her marketing for this is just feeling of the people. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, TikTok is of the people. And I'm just seeing her pop up on a lot of different feeds and posts and channels, and I know I'm enjoying it. Again, it feels fun. So shout out to you, Cardi. I think you've got a hit on your hands. And now moving on to Nicki Minaj. This is going to be a little bit more serious because Nicki, as I mentioned at the top, is on tour right now. She launched a new album a few weeks ago, Pink Friday 2. She's now on her world tour. I believe it's a world tour. I don't think it's limited to just America. And the reviews thus far of her tour have been pretty mixed. From what I've seen a lot of people post videos from her tour. And a lot of the comments I'm seeing are that the tour has a lot of low energy moments and that Nicki skips out on words, like performing the words to her songs a lot of the time, which if you've seen Nicki perform, that is something she does. But In some of the videos, it looks like it's less a choice and more that maybe she's forgotten the words. It's sort of the vibe it's giving. Also, the choreography in certain places is just, it's a little lackluster. Like, one thing I will say, if I think about my girl Taylor Swift, Taylor is not a dancer. Okay, now she's the first person to tell you that. And so the choreography itself, I think, is choreography suited to someone who is not a natural dancer. But she gives it 100,000%. And anybody who's watched Eras will tell you that, okay? She might not be a dancer, but she dances at 100% all the time. Where Nicki, again, I'm basing this on the videos I've seen and also the people who've paid good money to go see the show, what they've said, it feels like for a number of the dances and the choreography, her heart's not in it, right? And that is sort of the way it looks. It looks like it's giving a little bit low energy, a little bit lackluster. And then just this past Monday of this week, she canceled a show very last minute, like literally I think 4 hours before she was supposed to be on stage. This was in New Orleans on Monday, canceled. And the official reason given was that she was sick. So obviously if she is sick, like you can't perform. But there's been a fair amount of speculation as to what might actually be happening behind the scenes. Now, let me just say this. This is a podcast about how women show up for one another and propel one another forward, even when they're not aware that they're doing it. And in general, uplifting women is extremely important to me. Extremely important to me. You could argue I've built an entire career around it. So what I'm not trying to do with this segment and talking about this tour is in any way drag down Nicki Minaj. At the same time, I don't want to give the impression that we're never going to talk about real things on this show, because real life is real life. And in this particular instance, there is a real topic that I think is worth touching on now that I've done a full episode about Nicki Minaj. Videos about her on socials have gotten tens of thousands of views. Like, I do feel that it would be irresponsible not to say what I'm about to say, which is, first of all, Nicki has been upfront about the fact that she has struggled with drug addiction in the past. I believe it was painkillers that she went on record about. And there is a lot of speculation happening right now that she might be struggling with drug addiction. Which drugs? That's really not on me to speculate, but there has been a lot of speculation in the press, by the fans, just sort of TMZ. It's sort of been everywhere. And there have been reasons for this, right? Like, for instance, this last minute cancellation. And then if you recall a few weeks ago, if you were paying attention to all of this going on, Nicki was hopping on IG Live pretty frequently in order to respond to the diss track that Megan Thee Stallion put out. A diss track, which, by the way, at no point ever mentioned Nicki Minaj by name, but Nicki very much, took it to mean that it was about her, which valid given some of the lyrics. And she was hopping on IG Live pretty regularly and at, very late at night, 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning, staying on for hours at a time, speaking, based on the clips I've seen, speaking somewhat like incoherently, all of this felt a bit erratic and helped fuel the rumors about Nicki's substance abuse. The reason I want to bring it up here is because though this platform right now is not huge, it is a platform where I'm speaking about celebrities and women, and fame has been known to do just really terrible things and difficult things to musicians, actors, celebrities for decades now. And we have lost too many great artists who have struggled with addiction. Whitney Houston, Amy Winehouse, Prince, Michael Jackson. The list is frankly too long and too sad to keep going. But this is real. And now that I've got this platform, it feels important to me to say, I never want to be a part of the problem, right? Right now, this platform is entirely too small for Nicki or anyone of her stature to be paying attention to, but it might not always be that way, right? We don't know. And obviously my platform on TikTok is a bit bigger. I think I'm at, last count, almost 76,000 followers. And some of my videos have millions of views. And so I never want the words I'm saying to be fueling the flames of like stress and anxiety or negativity that might feed someone's substance abuse problem. So I'm putting that here to say I want this space to continue to be positive. We will talk about real things and the real things that are happening in the media for the subjects of these episodes. But I just want you to know I take this very seriously, and I would never ever want to be contributing to anyone's pain in that way. So I'm going to try and navigate this as best as I can. This idea that this is an entertainment news podcast. We're going to talk about people in the media. We're going to talk about, the updates going on as well as some of the beefs that they've had. And I'm always going to do it as respectfully as possible, coming from a good intentioned place. Like that's always going to be my vibe. And if I'm falling short of that, I hope you guys will check me on that, because I really do want to be having fruitful, respectful conversations, but also entertaining conversations. I want to kiki and all the rest. So I just want to put that there. And I hope that that's how this is all coming across. All right, and we've made it to the parking lot of this episode. If you listen to the last Queen Things, you know that this is where I like to park any other thoughts that I might be having that I think are relevant. And in this particular instance, I wanted to share some feedback that I've gotten a few times on my content creation career and share my thoughts on this feedback. So I've been talking to a few potential talent management agencies as a budding creator with, still a micro audience for TikTok, but somewhat sizable. It's not uncommon at this stage to bring in an agent, right? Or work with an agency. And the role of this agency really is to manage your brand partnerships, because most content creators make a big chunk, if not the majority of their income via brand partnerships. And so these agencies help you with that. They can either help with by doing outreach or just by managing a lot of the inbound that's coming in, negotiating on your behalf to get bigger and better deals, what have you. So I've spoken to a few, not that many. This is something I'm trying to learn the landscape right now. I'm trying to get a sense of what it could look like. It's not something I'm doing right now. In fact, I personally don't want to bring on an agent until after I've secured my own brand partnerships by myself. I'm that way. I was that way with my business as well. I don't like to outsource something until I at least learn a little bit about how to do it so that I can check you on it if I don't think you're doing it right. So it's not something that I'm planning to do right now, but I am looking into it. And in all of these conversations, what I have heard is that I might benefit from more focus. And I completely understand this feedback. If you go to my TikTok page right now, and you should, I am _ KJ Miller. If you go to my TikTok page right now and watch the last, 10 videos, I think you are going to see videos about, obviously, Taylor Swift. You're going to see videos about the Oscars, videos about Kate Middleton, videos about the TikTok ban, videos about New York Times podcasts. And if you keep scrolling, you'll see videos about my silk press. You'll see videos about the Disney Plus PR mailer I got, which was amazing. You'll see a lot. You'll see a lot. And to be very honest, you're going to keep seeing a lot. I receive that feedback. I hear it and I understand it. I understand that for a brand to want to work with me or with anyone, it's easier for that to happen if you have an established niche, an established focus. But to just be all the way real with you guys, I feel like I have done so much over the last, call it 20 years, out of this place of feeling like I should do it. Right? I mean, I think you could argue that explains pretty much my entire post-high school career, right? I should go to an Ivy League university, so I did. I should get a high-paying job out of college, so I did. I should go back to that Ivy League university for business school. So I did. I should start a multi-million dollar, company. So I did. And look, I'm not complaining, and I certainly am not asking anyone to feel bad for me. I've been unbelievably blessed. My parents worked so hard to give me the opportunities that I've had, and I've tried to take those opportunities and grab them by the balls and run as fast as I can. I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful. But I am also in a place right now where, and I wish I could say more about this, I can't. I've seen a lot of what I worked for over the last, call it decade, kind of crumble. And despite me giving it everything I had and doing everything that I felt I was supposed to do, everything I was told I should do, despite that, watching things fall apart and kind of rip at the seams a bit. And again, I know it's really annoying for someone to say something like that and not give details. I will be able to share details. I just can't right now. There are legal reasons. And so I'm sort of in a place where I don't think I can let what I'm supposed to do guide me right now. Like what I should do guide me right now. I literally think emotionally I'm in a place where I can't. There's what I know I have to do. That's put food on the table for me and my family. I will always do what I have to do to make that happen. But how I do it, that is not going to be based on what I believe or someone else tells me I should do. I've done it for too long, and I'm trying something new, right? I'm 37 years old. I'm trying something new. And if it blows up in my face, I've got a couple Harvard degrees to fall back on, right? But right now, I got a lot that I want to share. I've got a lot I want to share, and I'm going to share it all. Now, I am trying to segment it for you guys, right? Like Two Queens, Two Crowns is largely pop culture focused. My YouTube channel is largely business focused. And my TikTok is where I put every little thought that comes into my head. That to me feels like some pretty substantial segmentation. Okay. So if you only want one piece of that, then you can, choose your own adventure. But what I'm not going to do is try to cut any part of myself off as I look to pursue this content creation career path, even though I know that would probably make it easier for the brands that I will eventually partner with. What I'm hoping is that the fact that I'm super genuine and authentic, and I think pretty good at storytelling, I'm hoping those are the things that brands will look at and say, oh, this is why we want to partner with KJ. Because she's so authentic, because she's so persuasive and so charismatic, like that's why we want to partner. Not because every single one of her videos is a makeup video. Because look, I ran a beauty company for almost a decade. The easy thing to do would be to just post TikToks about putting on makeup every day. I could do that till I'm blue in the face, but that's not what I want to do. It just isn't. I'm not saying I'll never do a makeup video. I still like makeup. You'll see a makeup video or two here and there, but it's not what I want to do all day, every day. And so it's not what I'm going to do all day, every day. It just is not. And I appreciate that feedback. I'm sure I will get it again. I'm sure I will get it again. And I know it comes from a good place. I have nothing against the people who have given it. I just know where I am. I know the season I'm in. And I know that this is what's right for me right now. And like I said, if it blows up in my face, okay, we'll try something else. But I want to share that with you guys because I'm hoping you will be down to take this journey with me. All right, everybody, that is it for this week. Hope you loved the episode. If you did, please be sure to give us a 5-star review wherever it is you are listening, okay? And to always hop on socials and leave us a comment. You can find us over on YouTube, Two Queens, Two Crowns. That's with the number 2. And of course, you can find us on TikTok as well. And I would love for you to follow me personally at @I am_KJ Miller on TikTok and at I am KJ Miller on YouTube. I'll see you next time.